What exactly happened with the protective order? The big conversation was whether or not Brian Friedman, or let alone any other attorneys, how much they can litigate this case in the public. What out-of-court statements can they make?
It started like any other celebrity civil case, a modest crowd of paparazzi outside the courthouse, a few speculative articles, and Blake Lively walking in with her signature poise and quiet confidence. But what unfolded inside that courtroom shocked even the most jaded legal analysts. Because by the end of the day, Lively's case wasn't just damaged, it was gutted. And the most surprising twist? The judge used arguments and evidence that originated from conservative commentator Candace Owens to blow the entire thing wide open. Nobody saw it coming, especially not Blake Lively.
No, not necessarily. So what's going to happen now is that the judge was actually pretty reluctant, to kind of issue a Rule 3.6. And from your clarification, Jesse, during that commercial break, that was more so just about ethics. No, unfortunately for our viewers, there was no Justin Baldoni, there was no Blake Lively, there was no Ryan Reynolds or any other family members, as far as I could tell from being inside that courtroom.
To be clear, this wasn't some wild criminal prosecution. Lively had filed a civil defamation and privacy violation suit against a tabloid media company, claiming they had published knowingly false stories about her personal life and family, stories that she insisted were manufactured out of thin air. The articles had alleged that Lively was involved in controversial political dealings through a third-party nonprofit, claimed she was secretly funding fringe causes, and even suggested a falling out between her and husband Ryan Reynolds over political affiliations. The lawsuit was meant to draw a line in the sand. Enough was enough. But as the court proceedings dragged on, something shifted. And in the most devastating moment of the trial, the presiding judge cited a long-form video and research paper originally created by Candace Owens, calling it relevant, credible, and materially influential in evaluating the burden of proof. The courtroom fell into stunned silence. What followed was a complete unraveling of Lively's legal argument. The video in question, created by Owens nearly a year prior, was originally intended to expose how celebrities allegedly manufacture outrage, manipulate media cycles, and weaponize lawsuits to gain sympathy or control narratives. Owens had specifically broken down several celebrity cases, not naming Lively at the time, but outlining a pattern where emotional damage claims were paired with suspiciously timed political accusations and social media scrubbing. The judge acknowledged that the video wasn't directly about Blake Lively, but stated that its investigative framework mirrored, almost identically, the structure of Lively's case. The defense team pounced on that. They'd entered the Owens segment into evidence weeks earlier, but nobody expected the court to give it any weight. Now, it was being used to question Lively's credibility and suggest that her lawsuit may have been, in the judge's words, a media maneuver disguised as a legal complaint. The moment shattered the entire courtroom atmosphere. Reporters rushed to tweet updates, spectators murmured, and Lively, usually the image of composure, was visibly shaken. She whispered to her attorney. Her hands trembled. For a brief moment, her eyes welled up with tears. Then, without warning, she stood. The judge was mid-sentence when she interrupted. "This is outrageous," Lively snapped. "That video was made for YouTube. It's not journalism. It's not evidence." The judge calmly asked her to sit down. Her lawyers tried to pull her back into her seat, but Lively refused. She kept speaking. "You're letting political bias ruin this courtroom. This is about my family, about what they did to my kids. You're citing YouTubers now?" Her voice echoed through the chamber. Gasps broke out from the gallery. The judge again instructed her to sit down. She didn't. "You have no idea what it's like to be hunted every single day by people with cameras, by people with agendas. This isn't justice. This is a circus." Security was discreetly signaled to move closer. Her attorneys looked panicked. After a few more moments of stunned defiance, Lively finally collapsed back into her chair, holding her head in her hands, visibly trembling. It was a meltdown, a very public, very emotional one. and it wasn't over yet. The defense attorney, emboldened by the court's recognition of the Owens video, then introduced supplemental evidence, a series of emails, Instagram DMs, and PR strategy documents that, according to their team, suggested Lively's camp had coordinated media responses with political influencers just days before the initial tabloid articles were released. In other words, they were accusing her of preemptively orchestrating a narrative in order to file this exact lawsuit. That claim hit like a sledgehammer. And again, the judge didn't throw it out. Instead, he looked directly at Blake Lively and said, "If this evidence holds, then this court may be dealing not just with a faulty defamation claim, but with a calculated media stunt designed to chill free speech. That is not protected by law." Lively's face went pale. Her attorneys asked for a recess. When the court resumed later that afternoon, the damage was done. Legal analysts outside were already saying the case was on life support. Inside, the judge made it official. He denied the motion to exclude the Candace Owens material and admitted the new communications into evidence. Then he dismissed 2 of Lively's 4 claims outright. The remaining 2 would proceed, but under what the judge called severely diminished standing. This wasn't just a loss, it was an implosion. And while Lively's lawyers tried to put on a brave face, insisting that justice would still be served, the media had already latched onto the courtroom breakdown and the bizarre twist of Owens being a central figure in the ruling. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions about Owens, about political bias, about whether Lively planned to drop the case. A few commentators on X, formerly Twitter, even speculated that Owens herself might weigh in publicly. She did. That night, Candace Owens posted a 5-minute clip to her followers with the caption, "They hate me until the truth starts winning." In the video, she referenced the judge's decision saying, "I didn't name her, I didn't target her, but if the glove fits." The clip went viral in hours. Some accused Owens of politicizing a sensitive legal matter. Others hailed her as a truth-teller standing up to the Hollywood elite. And stuck in the middle of it all was Blake Lively, once the darling of red carpets and lifestyle blogs, now at the center of a media and legal storm that threatened to redefine her public image entirely. The next day, Lively was nowhere to be seen. Her team canceled all press appearances, and a statement was issued saying she would focus on protecting her family's privacy as the legal process continues. But that legal process now looked very different, with most of her case gutted and credibility undermined by the very content creators her team once ignored. Lively's path to legal victory seemed narrow at best. Behind the scenes, sources close to the courtroom revealed that settlement talks had quietly begun. It was clear that Lively's legal strategy had been thrown off course by the unexpected influence of a polarizing cultural figure, one whose audience wasn't the elite press, but the online public. In other words, the same people the tabloids and algorithms care about. For years, celebrities have fought tabloid stories with lawsuits designed not necessarily to win, but to exhaust, intimidate, and shift public perception. But this case flipped the script, because when a judge uses YouTube research to dismantle a celebrity complaint, whether you agree with it or not, it marks a moment, a line in the sand, a shift in how truth is assessed and by whom. Was it fair? Legal experts were divided. Some said the use of Owens's material was dangerous precedent, allowing pop political content to substitute for hard evidence. Others argued that in the information age, truth comes from many places, and if a well-researched video accurately exposes manipulation, it deserves attention. Whatever your view, the consequences were clear. Blake Lively, who had tried to take a principled stand against media invasion, was now being painted as the manipulator. And Candace Owens, often criticized for inflammatory takes, had just had one of her videos cited in federal court, with devastating consequences. By the end of the week, news segments were running split screens. Lively's emotional outburst on one side, Owens's smirking reaction video on the other. Podcasts debated what this meant for celebrity influence, free speech, and the growing power of independent voices on the internet. Meanwhile, other celebrities watched nervously from the sidelines, wondering what it meant for their own lawsuits and public narratives. Because if a judge can dismantle a Hollywood actress's case using arguments from a political commentator, one often dismissed by the entertainment industry, then nothing about traditional power structures is safe anymore. The media world, the legal world, the influencer world, they're all merging, and it's messy. For now, Blake Lively remains in legal limbo. Her remaining claims will go to trial, assuming she doesn't settle. But the damage to her image, to her case, and to her personal composure has already been done. The meltdown wasn't just emotional, it was symbolic. It marked the collision of old Hollywood control with new internet chaos. And in that moment, caught between a skeptical judge, a viral video, and a public that no longer waits for verdicts, Blake Lively lost control of her own story. Maybe forever.